Blood, and more blood. We are sitting with FTT down nearly 75% for the day. We have Solana. I can't believe Solana hit $16. Guys, we have a lot going on right now. Is a capitulation? I think this is one of the biggest questions we have right now. Is a capitulation? How much more can this get? We had a lower low from Bitcoin since the low of June this year. And now we need to look at the charts and be like, there's a gap. There's a big gap. And if we don't hold these specific levels, we have another very big gap. We have been speaking many times about a $10,000 or $12,000 Bitcoin. I was expecting early next year. Stock market's been rallying and been doing pretty well. Dixie's been dropping. Everything was looking beautiful. And obviously, we've had the whole FTX thing, and now we're starting to get reaction, and we actually have a decoupling. I think we've all been waiting for decoupling of the crypto and stock market, just not in this way. So, guys, let's go through this. Let's go through all of the altcoins. There's tons of altcoins. Let's go see what the damage is. Is it, have you got the cojones to be loading up at these levels and dollar costing at these zones? And if not, where next are we getting ready for this, guys? It's going to be an absolute massive show. James, smash a button. Let's get into it.
Click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tethers all. We got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper. Enter the sniper.
Yo, Banter fam, another crazy day in the markets. I haven't felt like this in a long time. Sick and like, what the hell? We're even at that point where it's like, you just don't believe it, rather than reacting or having too much emotion right now. It's just like, this is absolutely crazy. I think we've had 3 of these days within the last year or 2. And now this is quite crazy. For me, when we get these massive reactions like this, we saw it on the May crash last year, and we saw it in the, I think it was November or the December crash as well, where we just get this absolute rocket. It is quite crazy. The only green bubble is Hex. I'm sure Mr. Richard Hart is probably laughing right now, because he's still saying 10K Bitcoin. Let's see what happens. But it's crazy that we're getting one of these days here in the market, especially that we had this little relief rally, but it wasn't anywhere near to the size that we're actually expecting. And by the way, if you are new, smash the subscribe button. If you're part of the family, smash the like button. We go through war together. And ultimately, we're not going to stop until we're all millionaires/billionaires. We're just not going to lose it. A lot of these big guys are losing these things very quickly overnight. And it's quite crazy to see how the titans, the big guys, are cracking. Apparently, Sam Bankman-Fried was worth $16 billion yesterday, and now he's worth just under $1 billion 24 hours later. Imagine. Absolutely crazy. So, guys, as I was saying, we've had this little relief rally from Bitcoin over the last few weeks, and things were looking good. They were looking strong. We had the stock market, we had the elections coming up, and all of a sudden this whole FTX FUD has just come and created a whole big drop. Now, the big question is, how far down do we go? And, where are we again in the market cycle? Because we had a little idea that possibly we were in the anger phase, but maybe the anger phase was not done just yet. So I do want to bring this up quickly before we go through all the different levels. But ultimately, we do have the market cycle from the all-time high. We got the levels of where we had the 17K low. Let me zoom this in. 17K low. We then got to 25K. We then came down, higher low. We then went up, lower high. And I was expecting that we were maybe in this area. We were going to at least go test 25K first, and then depression. I've been speaking about depression and the lows and these sort of things. But maybe this is one scenario, and then I'll go into the more brutal scenario. Maybe that this was that area of 21K This is the anger. The anger is slightly lower than capitulation. And if you take that and you actually look at that on the weekly chart on Bitcoin, that this could possibly be, for the first time, we are getting a low lower than the capitulation. Is this the anger phase? Are you guys feeling angry? I'm feeling shock. I think there should be another emotion on you, in shock. But ultimately, this could be the anger phase, or it could be the depression phase. I don't know. I don't think, if I had to look at the market cycle, it does show a little bit more grind in depression. So to go straight down now to those crazy level lows, we did think that Bitcoin at some point was going to test 14K. It did make sense. But usually what happens is it's a little bit of a drip dry. Not so fast. It's absolutely fast. Now, one thing that is interesting to talk about is we never got a true capitulation candle. We never got that really long wick candle where Bitcoin literally falls, for example, yesterday from 20K, and all of a sudden we go down to 12K and we're back at 18K within 24 hours. You know, when you create that really long wick, we haven't gotten any of those candles ever since we've made these big downfalls and these big strong pushes down. We've still not gotten the true capitulation. And end of the day, we are still sitting here saying, does anyone want to buy crypto right now? What gives a reason for big guys to want to buy crypto right now? I think it's a really big question. And if so, where are the levels? And we will only know that once we do see that crazy capitulation, that long wick candle, that long buy up candle to the area. So let's actually zoom in and let's see what we're looking at here and the next possible levels. So we are still currently fighting the 2017 all-time high. These areas over here, we had the first high of the 19K and we had the second high of the 17K. And ultimately what that did is it did create a range that we never tested. We ended up going really far above it. Remember, support resistance, this was a previous high, and we never tested it. So the further away we got from it, at some point you'll come down and you'll test it. Now we have this one over here. First scenario, anger phase. Anger phase means that we have a slight wick below capitulation. From here, we have a bounce up and we go to the areas of around the 22, 24 area. And then from that, we go into depression, which takes us into next year. It takes us down to the areas of $10, $12, $14,000. Ultimately, if it's off of market cycle, that's sort of the roadmap we'd want to be following, if that is that scenario. Or a lot of people can argue that this is not the same market as what it was. It's different now. A lot of people say that, you know, if we're forming on the format of every 4 years is a bull cycle, that's sort of what should happen. We should be bouncing in the area of 16 to 17K. We should be going up to around 22, 24, and then going to depression to these areas throughout next year, if it's that cycle. Now, if it's not that cycle and something has changed in crypto, because ultimately people are saying 2024, end of 2024 is when we're going to be having the next bull run. So if so, that's sort of the roadmap we're looking at, and we still have a long journey. If we thought this was hard, depression gets really hard because it's 4 times the length of this, and it drip dries, like it literally just slowly sucks. Now, obviously, what it does do is it puts coins and it puts a lot of tokens in crazy levels of up to 95 to 98% down from their all-time highs. Now, accumulating the right tokens through these times, obviously, you know, has always been, it's literally been the potion of turning a simple person into a millionaire, what was throughout these times. Now, the second scenario is things have changed, and ultimately it's not the same system anymore, because all I saw is, you know, I was watching a lot of sports on the weekend and I just see crypto. With the Cricket World Cup at the moment, I see FTX on the board there. I literally, now the semifinal was happening and I'm literally watching and there's FTX there. So now we have crypto all over the world. Is it still the same? Now, second scenario is we drop straight through this today and the blood just gets a lot worse. Now, if the blood gets a lot worse, for me, if we can get a candle that comes all the way down to the area of $11,000 to $14,000 within the next day, 2 days, 3 days, it might even be today. It might be. We have interest rates tomorrow, right? If that goes bad and the stock markets crash, you know, that could possibly add again to the crypto thing and end up getting that. But ultimately, if that did have to happen, I do see us coming down to the areas here, but I do see a big buy up. I really do, because ultimately, you know, where are the buy walls for these guys and the bigger guys? We know the interest is there somewhere. And for me, if it wasn't here, We'll soon know today. For me, if we get to the areas, if this was the temporary low of today or anything like that, the 17K zone, we'll be back at 20K very quickly. And if we see that we're back at 20K very quickly, then we know that was the temporary low. But ultimately, I'll see a candle go really fast down to these areas. You'll probably see one of the biggest blood streets you've ever seen before in this market. You think this is bad, you can double it, if not triple it on the way down. And then it will literally be bought up in the matter of minutes to hours and be all the way back up to these levels where you actually get the strong candle down to these areas and bought up in that time, forming a very long wick candle. And then from that, we can have that capitulation to that area and then start off the actual depression stage. Now, the big question is, guys, I know a lot of people are saying, should we sell through sort of these things? I am quite annoyed. I started laddering out a little bit. I said I was getting out on this leg up. This next leg up, I was getting out. I thought I was going to go a little bit more. But ultimately, I did not manage to get a lot of it out. Now, let's actually go through these levels. We know now that FTT, let's go through the big guys first because this is really bad. Now, is FTT, the big question, I'd love for you guys to put in the comments. Is FTT done? Is it Luna? It shouldn't be Luna. It shouldn't be. It's not the same concept at all. Luna was designed, if something went wrong, it would go to zero, definitely. But FTT wasn't. Now, the question is Binance really going to buy it? They've acquired and these sort of things. Are they really going to? And ultimately, what is the use case of the FTT? Because if, CZ owns Binance, like he's of course going to want BNB over FTT. So I think that's what's creating a lot of these issues. But ultimately, what we do have is this token at the moment that literally dropped over 80% within the last 24 hours. And now we're sitting at its original demand zone, which was the areas of around $4. Absolutely insane. Is it disaster or is it opportunity? Please put in the comments over there, because if for somehow FTT does survive and they do end up coming back to life, this is obviously, we've soon learned that the biggest disasters could be the biggest opportunities at times. And this is just absolutely crazy. I would be putting this under the really high risk part now, but ultimately, if there was anything I could get at these areas, I might take a small dip. I might, but it is scary. It is very scary. After the Luna, we don't know anymore. But ultimately, guys, this is a big problem. And what we did see was obviously FTT was getting heavily pushed into BNB. And that is one token that I'm definitely looking at buying on this strong pullback. Look at this, guys. You just saw the other charts and you just saw how everything has been getting this really strong pullback. Look at BNB. Look at this. It's looking absolutely crazy right now. And it is one that's really showing tremendous amount of strength. Now, there is areas, obviously, if Bitcoin does drop those lows and we get that massive push, you could be looking around $200. But I think now you have to have some sort of BNB in your portfolio. So keep eye on this, definitely on this pullback, and focus on Bitcoin, because if you focus on Bitcoin, you'll see very clearly that the dominance is straight back in Bitcoin's favor, pumping up right now. So it just means everything is following Bitcoin. So you don't necessarily have to go and chart every single altcoin. When Bitcoin's in an area of interest of dollar costing, you can dollar cost into the tokens that you want. Panicking out right now for me, I just feel it's probably another big swallow. It does mean you have to sit and bite your jaw for another possible 40% drop, on the worst case, in my opinion. But ultimately for me, you get swallowed up if you sell out of these areas, because we could possibly be in the anger phase. And this possibly could be bought up pretty quickly, and you don't want to be caught. We saw yesterday when Bitcoin started to dump off. Look how quickly it literally bounced straight back to those areas. So guys, when we're having these drips down like this, I know it's fast and I know it's quite crazy, but I promise you see this big green candle, this massive buy up at some point. And you don't want to be swallowed up in that, because then you end up chasing. I saw a lot of guys yesterday. They started panicking out in the Bitcoin drop. And then as soon as it pumped, they bought back in, and then it started dropping all the way down. And like, no, it's going to make higher low. And then just completely continue tanking down. So be very aware of how they're going to trap you a lot at these points. But it's very clear that dominance is up. Now, let's just speak quickly about the range, because I think the range is very important to understand the percentage differences here. If you look at ETH right now, so ETH is one. I'll take my hats off to ETH right now. ETH is still, there's the lows over there. Let's actually take the percentage difference here. You know, ETH still over 30% from the lows. So ETH's definitely holding up really strong. But ultimately, for me, this wick that went in there was a buy order from bigger guys on ETH. But ultimately, I don't think all their orders were filled. So it's probably likely, if not now, if we get a buy up, that's fine. But if not now, I do think ETH will return to around $800 to $900 at some point in these areas. So we basically want to see that if Bitcoin decides to go test those lower points, you're basically looking at the region of another 30% down in Bitcoin. Now, what does that mean for altcoins? If you have to look at one like ETH, you're basically looking at another area of 30-40%. So ETH, very similar to that. Now, let's actually take this into altcoins. Let's go look at the first one. Okay, I'll actually jump to Solana. Solana is a whole nother topic, but let's go through all of them quick. So if we look at Theta's next support zone currently from where we're at now is we're probably looking at the areas of around 20. Now, THETA for me, I spoke about it yesterday, is I've been diversifying a lot of my alts that were strong previously to the ones that are looking strong now. For me, Chainlink is still strong. DOT is still strong. THETA is still strong. So I've been diversifying to these. And if I look at the charts, you could see that the support zone for THETA is only 20% away. It's even showing less than Bitcoin, which is quite crazy. And it's actually dropped less than Bitcoin within the last 24 hours, which is quite insane. But then we look at the major alts. This is where the damage comes in for me, as in Solana, as in a lot of them. AVAX, if you look at the areas here, the next support over here, 35 to 40%. Then we look at Solana. This one's crazy, guys. Absolutely crazy. Who would have thought Solana would be at these prices? Is Solana going to make it? If it's going to make it, which I'm sure it should, it does what it needs to do. The only problem is they've probably lost their biggest investors and their backings. And I think that's what everyone's stressed about. Everyone's worried about Sam Bankman-Fried. You know, we had all of these things. And like, what has Solana actually got backing-wise? And if you look here, this is probably one of the most crucial support areas for Solana to hold. It could be one of the biggest buying opportunities. It could. The only problem is we've seen Luna and we've seen what could happen after that. If Sol doesn't hold this area of $4 to at least $12 in this area, the next one that we have is $4. Is $4. Now, I want you guys to put this back in your head. I know a lot of people, I had Solana, I didn't manage to get all of it out. I want you to remember something. If you bought Solana anywhere $80, anywhere $100, anywhere even $60, if you catch it at $4 or you catch it at $5, you can literally spend 2% of the money that you bought at these top areas here, and you're buying double to triple the tokens that you have, which ultimately will bring your order, your entry price all the way down to these crazy low areas. And if we do get a Solana back at $40, $60, $80 at some point, you'll make a lot of money. So right now, it is still a gamble to be taking Solana at this area. It could be a great buy, definitely. And I'm possibly going to be dipping my toes in this area. But I am prepping. If there's any way I could get it at $4, $5, I literally have to put in 2 to 5% of the capital of what I did at those higher levels. And I end up bringing my entry all the way back down. And all I will need is Solana to go back to $20 or $30, and I will 5, 6x my money. We have to use this, guys. As you know, I spoke about it yesterday. I did speak about it yesterday. And I told you guys that, let's actually see, where's that chart? Here we go. It happened too fast. I did think it was going to happen slower. But I said yesterday, we're going to bounce back up to 20, get out of your portfolios because you're about to get one of the biggest farming opportunities, right? I said that yesterday on yesterday's show. I know Run's show came on straight after mine, so not everyone got to see the show. But ultimately, this was the bounce, this was a test, and it gave us a really big farming opportunity. And that's what you got to sort of look at this dump at. The dump means token accumulation. It means you're able to stack up a lot more tokens than what you could have at higher prices, a lot more. You can literally buy over 95% more tokens than what you could have a year ago at all-time highs, which sounds crazy, but it is. You could buy, if you were spending $100 or $1,000 on Solana a year ago, you can buy 95% more of it now, nearly double the amount of tokens of Solana by buying it at this area right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you've got to keep looking at these really big dump days as accumulation days. So Solana, yes, I'll dip my toes in this area. But ultimately, I'd also be looking at possibility of $4. I don't think it will get there. I don't know. It will be crazy if it does, but I don't know. But ultimately, be aware of it and be ready for it. Cardano. Cardano right now is still in support, still in the support area. So if Bitcoin bounces in this area, Cardano cool. If it doesn't, Cardano goes down to 17 cents. 17 cents. Cardano drops hard. This is its last support. And after that, there's a really big gap. Really big gap. And ultimately a 50% drop within ADA. Now, is it worth selling now? I don't know. But if it is worth, if it goes to 70 cents, it's definitely worth me rebalancing and getting my entries way down. Doesn't matter where I bought it. End of the day, you need to go look at, put yourself in the shoes of anyone, even if you did buy the tops or not. If you put in $100 at that area and we go down there, it's 95%. You buy 94% more tokens in that area there. So do expect that if things go ugly, Cardano will probably be one of the bigger droppers and be one of those that come down really hard. And ultimately 17 to 19 cents is probably the next targets in the next areas. The next one that's quite shocking for me because they've been building really big, but now it's getting insanely cheap again. But this is obviously very cheap, is Neo Protocol. Neo Protocol has completely dropped support yesterday, and that's why it's starting to accelerate. And what it has is that it has more support around 1.5. So you could easily see here that another 30%, another 35% down from here. And then we're hitting the major support areas. There's one more at 1.3. But ultimately, if you believe in Neo, you believe in the tech, this is crazy. This app, guys, this was $20. It was $20 before previously. I know people have lost money and I get it, but like I said, if you spend 1% to 2% of the same money that you've ever invested in crypto at these areas, you're going to do so well. You're really going to do well. Be prepped for capitulation, be prepped for another 50% down, be prepped for all of that stuff, but find the damn 1%, find the damn 2% of it and build portfolios at these times. Guys, I cannot say it again enough. I'll go through these charts for you, but you have to build portfolios at these times. It is scary as shit and it can go slightly lower, but you have to. It costs you so much less than what any of your other, look at your other ones as lessons. You paid for all the lessons in the book and that's done with and you can't go back to that at all. That's fine. But ultimately you have all these great projects that are falling because of big guys and because of them getting themselves into shit. But ultimately you have the same team, you have the same company, you have the same tech, you have the same everything. It's just 95% off. If not, it might even get to 98% off. Guys, 1, 2 to 5% of the money you spend ever in crypto, if you spend it at these levels and you build them, you double to triple your tokens amounts, and you'll soon see how massively that will play a role. I need you to focus, guys. Focus. I don't care what anyone's called before. I don't care where we're at. Like, you have to focus. Look at Fantom. Let's get Fantom here because this is crazy again. Fantom, if it loses these support areas and we capitulate, Fantom goes down to around 5 cents. It goes down 70% from here. Funny. 70% from here is the next support. We have one more that's at 15 cents. So 15 cents will probably be one of the first areas to start dollar costing. This token was $3. Was $3. I think it was even more than $3. Nearly $3.5. $3.5. Right now, we are sitting 94% down. We come down to these areas, 98% down. I don't care if you bought the absolute top. 2%. So for example, you spent $1,000 at the top. If you spend $50 in this area, you buy the same amount of tokens. Just think about it, guys. Think about it. Like, it's hard as shit. It makes you feel sick. It makes you feel absolutely crazy. But now it's so much less. A lot of people put way too much money in at the tops, and I get it. So did I. But now you don't have to put in a lot of money. Now you got to think opposite. You actually got it. You know what you should do? The wallet that you got in right now, if it's too late to sell, it's too late to sell. And it's bleeding as shit right now. That's fine. But you create a whole nother exchange and a whole nother wallet, and you even put 5% of the money and you buy at these levels. And I want you to compare the two in the next few months. You will soon learn the skill of making money in this market. Of a wallet that you spend, because people think I need to put so much money in when everyone's talking about it, and they do. They take a lot of money in and a lot of their savings and they buy at these areas. Now you don't have money, but you only have a little bit of change, but you use the change to buy at these levels. You will soon see the power of the strategy and how you should be attacking this market. You now know it. You can add this to your resume. Guys, this is my first bear market. I've added it to my resume. I've been sitting, learning, putting in all my rules. I won't go through this shit again. I don't care if the next bear markets in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, I'll make sure that a lot of the mistakes that I made this time, I will not make again. And now I know the power of having money when the markets go into this. And I'll make sure that for the rest of my crypto career, I will always have money for opportunities like this. Because the fact I was looking at it, I can't believe the amount of tokens I can buy now compared to what I was buying and what I was paying then. It's actually ridiculous. It's like buying a pair of Nike shoes for $10,000, where you could have been buying it for $50. But we'll pay the $10,000 with a smile. We got to start being way more stingy and way more smarter with these things. So Fantom's there. Let's look at Render. Render is possibly going down to 30 cents again, 35 cents. These are the areas. We've spoken about these areas before. Now, guys, this can either happen soon or it can happen in the next 6 months after depression. It all depends, as I said, on where we are in the market cycle. If it's anger stage, we're going to bounce. And we're going to bounce here and we're going to bounce hard at some point. Or we're going to have capitulation that's going to be absolutely crazy. We'll still get a humongous bounce. But the best thing to do is to put limit orders now, is to go look at these crazy prices. I want you to use the previous highs. So basically go look at wherever these tokens have been before. Go take all the previous highs and the lows and go ladder them. Put the lines. Go on your chart and go put these lines. And basically just above them, because sometimes it will go right next to it, just above them, you can actually go set limit orders. So instead of you sitting there, I don't know if it's going to capitulate today, I don't know, go put your limit orders in. Have it there ready for whenever that stage actually happens or comes. We will know if anything changes at a later point. And you can see here with Fantom. Fantom still got that long ass trend. If they break at any point, then we can change scenarios, cancel your orders, and buy the breakout. We will see. But for now, put the orders in. So Render, 35, 40 cents. DOT is still strong for me. It never bounced. So for me, it is taking slight damage now. But for me, this is one that I'm seriously accumulating right now. Around the $5 to $6 range is definitely the one that I'm dollar costing in as we speak. It never bounced hard at all. And, for me, it is dropping a lot less. Look at the other tokens. A lot of them are double digits today. This one's on 2%, holding strong, looking good because it never really bounced. So for me, it's still in the phase of accumulating, but DOT is still definitely the crazy areas. We did get Chainlink, which did get slightly cheaper than what I thought. And I'm looking at Chainlink, and previously they were accumulating around $5. And it's probably a good scenario if we capitulate that we go to around $5 again. Now, it was $9, and that was areas I was buying, and I still have. And I'm still happy with that on the higher time frame. I am happy with that, the higher time frame. But ultimately, if I can get more at $5, that would be a great buy for me for Chainlink. It is still one of the strongest coins right now. And you will soon see when the market bounces, what bounces first. That's the question. What's going to bounce first when Bitcoin bounces, and what's going to bounce the hardest? Very big question. DogeCoin. This is it, guys. Like for me, chart-wise, I can't ignore it at all. But Dogecoin broke out, really long-term trend, and it's right now testing. We spoke about 8 cents, 7.5 to 8 cents, and that's where we hit. We hit 7.6, and right now in this area. So Doge, you believe it? You believe in Elon? Here's your shot. Think about it. A week ago, you were going to pay 15 cents. Are you going to pay 8 cents now? It's your question to answer. XRP, if capitulation happens, XRP goes back to 28 cents. And that for me, obviously, is the crazy level that has been brought up many times before. And is a possibility of going there again. So ultimately, guys, prep on. And actually, what I'm seeing here is if Bitcoin does go to those levels, it looks like the whole market's going to sort of drop similar. So Bitcoin will drop 25-30%, the altcoins 30-35%. So it's not a crazy difference. The difference will come in the bounce. The bounce, you will get a bounce from Bitcoin, but you'll get a humongous bounce within the altcoins when that happens too. So you can basically work on another 25-30% within altcoins further down from where we are now. Another one that's showing still in trend is VET, guys. VET. Remember VET. Spoke about VET. We actually got VET from one of the guys on the last show. VET, Chainlink, DOT. These are the ones. And let's actually speak about MATIC. Look at this coin. It's not even a bear market for MATIC. This is crazy. So we'll soon see. If it does capitulate, you'll end up getting MATIC back around 50 cents, which I think is an absolute crazy steal. Because as soon as MATIC drops this trend over here, it will accelerate. And the area obviously is between 40 to 50 cents is a crazy area for MATIC. Ultimately, if we bounce now, this would be a good place to top up, definitely. But you know, I'd rather be waiting for the 50 cent mark, the 60 cent mark for MATIC through those stages. But guys, you need to go through all these tokens. A lot of them are showing the same thing. 30% down from here. And I need you to get into your head and get into your brain. It doesn't matter what was bought previously, 2% to 3%. If the coin's 99% down, you need to spend 1% of the money to buy the same amount of tokens. So if you spend 5% of the money, you'll have 5 times more tokens. You'll bring your entry from the top all the way down to the bottom. And in the next bull run, you're going to be a millionaire. That's how it works. Go look at all of the tokens. How far are they down from the top? If it's 95%, you need to spend 5% to get the same amount of tokens. You need to spend 25% of the same money to get 5 times the amount of tokens that you have. 5 times. So if you had the opportunity to buy 100 Sol at the top, for 25% of the money, you can buy 500 Solana. Guys, come on. Let's not quit. Let's not stop. I'll be back. Let's wait to see what happens from here, and then we'll make the next decision. Be smart. Get ready for capitulation. If it goes down, you're not going to have time to buy. So make sure you got limit orders in play, because it's going to happen so fast. Exchanges are going to freeze. Everything goes crazy, and it gets really damn hard at those times. Be smart. Millionaires are built in the bear market. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Much love, Fantom.